What is the highest possibility for the younger generation? Is it a definite arrival point? Is it a process? And how does one come in connection with it?
Every life is aspiring to reach its fullest potential. I'm saying even plants, animals, insects, worms, every one of them is striving to be a full-fledged whatever they are. But the problem that human beings are facing…
So freedom from desire, Sadhguru.
See, desire is just a thought, yes or no? If your thought becomes compulsive, you call it a desire. So do I have to explain that separately?
How girls dress. The onus of dressing right and being right is always on the girl, especially when events…
Because she's getting the attention. Nobody cares how the boy is dressed. But people are looking at how the girl is dressed because she's getting the attention. So you must have the sense where, for whom, how you dress, not for me to tell them. I think I dress well. Nobody's paying me that kind of attention, but I dress well.
Especially with girls, like crimes and attacks on women.
I know this is a serious issue. This is a terrible issue to talk about. Now, I am not saying you are raped because you are dressed badly. No, even if you are dressed like a nun, they're being raped.
What is a more intelligent paradigm? Resisting what is, fighting, raising your voice. We have a lot of activism going on, practically everything that comes to light.
People are making a living on activism. We need activity in the world, not activism. Too much activism and no activity. Nobody is there to do anything sensible, everybody is screaming about somebody else's life. Entama navtaru? Sarganiki ellra meeru? So at this point, if you do not offer something, you will see in the next 50 years' time, 90% of humanity will be on drugs or alcohol. How much percentage of Hyderabad is already on alcohol? One people would say, they're drunkards, we can't give our girls to their family. Now if you don't serve drink in the wedding, nobody will come, including the groom. Look at my eyes and see, I'm always drunk, or worse, I'm stoned. We want to teach this to the youth. I can teach them how to simply sit here and get stoned.
Namaskaram. Sadhguru needs no introduction. Namaskaram, Sadhguru.
Namaskaram.
We are speaking with him exclusively today on the latest initiative by Isha Foundation, Youth and Truth, which aims to bring out and address some of the real questions and challenges that the younger generation faces. Sadhguru, thank you so much. Sadhguru, I will start with something that you say in a lot of contexts, which is the highest possibility. So when we say highest possibility, in the context of youth and truth, what is the highest possibility for the younger generation? Is it a definite arrival point? Is it a process? And how does one come in connection with it?
So we should stop addressing youth like they're a separate species. They're not a separate species. Everybody here was youth at some point, just not so long ago. Well, a few like Christina a long time ago, but so not so long ago everybody was youth. But today, unfortunately, like with everything else, we want to treat young people like they're a separate species. They're not a separate species. This will go away if those who are little beyond that age which is supposed to be youth if they remember that they were also youth some time ago. Most people have forgotten and they think they landed here just like this. They have forgotten that they were infants, they were toddlers, they were youth. They've forgotten this. That's why we think youth is some strange species. So when we say the ultimate possibility, if you take any life, every life rather, every life is aspiring to reach its fullest potential. I'm saying even plants, animals, insects, worms, every one of them is striving to be a full-fledged whatever they are. So an earthworm wants to be a full-fledged earthworm, a mango tree wants to be a full-fledged mango tree, a tiger wants to be a full-fledged tiger. But the problem that human beings are facing, which also is the nature of your question, is we know what is a full-fledged earthworm, we know what is a full-fledged mango tree, we know what is a full-fledged tiger, but we don't know what is a full-fledged human being. This is because with all other creatures, nature has drawn two lines. Within those two lines they live and die. But when it comes to human beings, there is only bottom line, there is no top line. Because there is no top line, whatever you become, you know that's not the end. There seems to be something more. Doesn't matter what you make yourself, but still there seems to be something more. This is why in this culture, we did not address the possibility as to what you can do and cannot do. We address the possibility as how free you are. We address the possibility as freedom, as liberation, as mukti and moksha. We did not address the possibility in terms of doing. You can see this culturally, this is the only thing we have valued. Because in terms of action, in terms of intelligence, in terms of what human beings can do, it is a sacrilege to put a limit on it. But the important thing is, the ultimate possibility is in terms of freedom. So this freedom needs to be addressed because most people's idea of freedom is, when they succumb to their compulsions and do what they have to do, they think they are free. Now somebody wants to smoke, somebody wants to drink, somebody wants to do something else, they think it's their freedom. But actually it's a compulsion. A compulsion cannot be freedom. When you misunderstand a compulsion as a freedom, well, it is like you have a kitchen, we are in a restaurant. In the kitchen, if there is a cook who goes by the labels, you label salt as sugar, sugar as pepper, pepper as something else. By looking at the labels, if somebody makes the cooking, you know what will happen to you. The new cooks. So if you label… in life also, there are many ingredients to our life. If you label the wrong ingredients wrongly, then you will make a mess out of it. This is one big problem with human mind, that constantly people are trying to label their compulsive nature as freedom. The moment you name your compulsions as freedom, the moment you name your lust as love, the moment you name your longing to have something as ambition or vision, then you have messed up your life completely. When individual people mess their lives, society also gets messed up, because society is just a assimilation of people. There is no society as such, it's just an abstract. The real thing is just you and me. If both of us are messed up, wherever we live, our surroundings are messed up. So this is very important, that clarity has to come. There is no substitute for clarity. But right now, people think confidence is a substitute for clarity. If you have confidence without clarity, you are a recipe for disaster. Yes, This is what these belief systems are giving. People are talking about self-belief, I believe in myself. Believing in God, you did terrible things. Now believing in yourself, I don't know what more horrible things you are going to do. People who claim, I believe in God, have done terrible things on the planet. Now, these people who believe, I believe in myself, now these people are going to do worse things. Because belief means not knowing. You are interpreting not knowing as knowing. What you do not know, you're pretending to know. When ignorance is knowledge in a society, then that's a disaster, isn't it? So, ultimate possibility, do not think in terms of activity, in terms of capability, in terms of knowledge, in terms of intelligence, because these things must evolve endlessly. But in terms of freedom, that have you taken away the compulsiveness of natural existence of our physical self? Once you have come as a body, there is a body, all physical dimension is naturally in cyclical mode. Whether you take an atom or a cosmos, everything is in cyclical mode. What is in cyclical mode is naturally compulsive. What is in cyclical mode is going in circles. How do you understand going in circles? You're not getting anywhere. So freedom or mukti means you are not in the cyclical mode. You have become free from the cycles of life. Now, you are an ultimate possibility. This doesn't mean you have done everything in the universe. It is just that you are free. Once you are free, you are an ultimate possibility.
So freedom from desire, Sadhguru?
No, no, no.
Where does that… how does that manifest in the ultimate possibility?
See, desire is just a thought. Yes or no? If your thought becomes compulsive, you call it a desire. So do I have to explain that separately?
Sadhguru, I'm going to I'm going to foray into another topic which is discussed broadly here, especially in the Telugu states, in the context of various social issues and crime. How girls dress. The onus of dressing right and being right is always on the girl, especially when events…
Because she's getting the attention. Nobody cares how the boy is dressed. But people are looking at how the girl is dressed because she's getting the attention.
So is it a package that because she gets the attention, she has to be…
Yeah, she has to dress well because she has to be pleasant to our eyes because we're looking at her. Isn't it? Isn't it important if a lot of people are coming to see this wall, the wall is well painted? Whatever is your idea of well, of course, but is it not true that whatever is being looked at by a lot of people, we try to do the best with it? So a girl should be dressed well. What is well? It may be debatable for different people, different things are well. Now when you dress, there are different ways to dress. See, as a human being, there are many aspects to us. There is a biology, there is a thought and intellect, there is emotion and there is consciousness. You can dress either to show your intellect, or you can dress just to enhance your biology, or you can dress in some other way which indicates something else. So it's your choice whether biology is the front end of your life or not. If biology is your front end, you will get that kind of attention. If your intelligence is your front end, you will get that kind of attention. So you must have the sense where, for whom, how you dress. Do you want your biology on the front end on the street? No. Maybe in front of your lover, your husband, you want your biology to be the front end, there you dress differently. With a public you dress differently. I think these are things that we've always known. It's not something new. Women have always known this. So the question is, what kind of attention do you want to get? Accordingly one should dress. It's their business, what kind of attention they want to get. Not for me to tell them. I think I dress well. Nobody's paying me that kind of attention, but I dress well.
But Sadhguru, there's been a direct connection in the way society has responded to incidents and events, especially with girls, like crimes and attacks on women. So, no matter how the girl dresses, it's not proven that girls who dress in a certain way are actually going through these crimes.
I know this is a serious issue, this is a terrible issue to talk about, but is it okay if I tell you a joke?
Please.
No, I think it'll be taken wrongly. I have a joke about dress, but I will not go into it, simply because we do not want to address our problems in the society. We have problems in our society. Like every society has its problems, we have our problems. Our share of problems are more than our share of problems we have. This is one of the issues. So the fundamental thing is this is the first generation of women who've stepped out onto the street, into the workplace, into the factory floor. This is the first generation of women who've stepped out. This means a whole lot of men are not used to female proximity. They're not used to it. You better understand that. You are not in America, where they're used to female proximity for 2-3 generations. Here, this is the first generation, it's still struggling with it. And you must also understand, we have moved from a family structure where a girl would get married at 16, 17 and boy would get married 18, 19. So their sexuality, their hormonal urges were handled. Now you have not created any way to handle them, all right? Till they are 25, 27, they're going on unhandled. So this is a thing that society must debate. How are we going to handle this? Just putting it under the carpet and saying human sexuality doesn't exist is a stupid way to handle a society. We need to address this. We must have the courage to debate it. How is it that we're going to handle this? So because proximity is new for a whole lot of people,
right,
they are struggling with it. They don't know how to handle these things. So even when I was in Bangalore, these girls were asking me, if you get into your bus, wherever, somebody is groping at you, somebody is doing some rubbish to you, this is unfortunate and uncivilized, all right? But you must understand that's where the society is. Either you evolve the society, you educate and evolve the society, or you simply scream and yell and complain, okay, let's hang them, let's castrate them. This is not the answer. Yes, enforcement is also needed when a crime happens, that's a different matter. Enforcement must become stronger in certain areas where this is taken for granted, because we have heard people, boys are boys. So if boys are just boys, enforcement is needed. Otherwise, education and evolution is needed. And this is a transition state in a society. Our society is in a transition from a traditional mode to what we think is modern, but it's just Western, okay? So there are struggles going on. We must address human problems as human problems, not just thinking everything is crime and punishment.
So…
It'll make me immensely unpopular. See, nobody has any business to pounce upon a man or a woman, because body is a private space. But there is a social reality. If we are ignorant of that, or if we want to ignore that and just do our own thing, unfortunately, there will be situations. Now, I am not saying you are raped because you are dressed badly. No, even if you are dressed like a nun, they're being raped, all right?
Yes.
Even the nuns are being raped, so definitely it's not a dress issue. Head to toe, they're covered. So it's not only a dress issue, but you must understand proximity is new and I'm seeing gradually as it's going, in the Western countries, let's say in United States for example, no woman can go dressed like an evening dress to the office. Office dress is always business clothes. You cannot wear whatever you want and go. But in India, we neither know this nor that. We are going to the office like this, in close proximity with men, and we want to be looked at, but you don't want to be touched at. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. I'm not trying to condone that. Nobody has any business to touch anybody when they're unwilling, all right? But I'm saying, when they're in close proximity, people should dress in a certain way that it doesn't disturb each other, isn't it? It's a social sense. It's not a man versus woman stuff. This is not a gender issue. This is a social sense. Even in most advanced countries where there is… sexuality is simply accepted as an open thing, in spite of that, in corporate offices and government offices in United States, you can't dress whichever way you want and go, there is a norm. But in this country, everybody talks about freedom. So, we need to look at it. It's not to restrict a woman, but there must be a social conduciveness. Once again, men and women are not two different species. This is one species. If they don't learn how to understand and adjust each other's needs so that we fit into the society well, if we do not understand, all we want is a fight with each other, this is going to be a bad society.
Sadhguru, one last bit on this topic. Can men be taught how to handle the proximity?
Well, it's a question of getting used to. If you have three sisters at home and you're growing up, you're used to female body parts around you and you know that's not the way it is. Right from your childhood, you understand. But you did not grow up like that, suddenly you go in a bus and somebody is close to you, you must understand, people are… their intelligence is hijacked by their hormones. In that condition, they will do terrible things. They don't even understand what they're doing, obviously. If the man understood what he's doing, he wouldn't do that. He doesn't even know what the hell he's doing. He thinks he is doing the right thing, unfortunately. Yes, they're proud. I've heard boys sharing how they groped and how they did this to each other, among themselves, how successful they were today, because they think they're doing the right thing. So education is needed. Proximity is something that they have to get used to. It's still new to them. Many of them have moved from villages to cities. Their idea of a woman was totally different where they grew up. So these are all social things which need to be addressed. We don't want to address anything. We say, no, our tradition is like this, our tradition is like that. No, you have to address the current realities the way they are.
And my final question, Sadhguru, what is a more intelligent paradigm? Resisting what is, fighting, raising your voice. We have a lot of activism going on practically everything that comes to light.
People are making a living on activism. We need activity in the world, not activism. Too much activism and no activity. Nobody is there to do anything sensible, everybody is screaming about somebody else's life.
So, what is the alternative, Sadhguru? If offering a higher possibility or overwhelming them, like you said in one of the questions answered, overwhelming them with a positive possibility, how does that happen and when is it a constant process?
See, we are talking about alcohol, we're talking about drugs, we're talking about sexuality. Essentially, we must understand, we are talking about pleasure, pleasantness of experience. If I drink, I feel pleasant, if I drug, I will feel pleasant. Sexuality is a certain level of pleasantness. Unless I offer you an alternative, do you really believe you will get somebody off? So for a long time we handle it like this, no, if you don't do all these things, you go to heaven and you get all these things in plenty. For a long time we've handled human longings like this. Entama navtaru? Swarganiki ellra meeru? So, For a long time, we've addressed issues like this. Don't worry if you deny yourself all these things here. In heaven, it's available in huge quantities, all right? But now you must understand, as human intellect develops, they cannot help asking questions. Once you ask questions, if I ask 3 questions, all the 3 heavens will collapse. Yes. So, right now, people might not have still articulated this, even within themselves, but for most people, heavens have collapsed. See, she's laughing because heaven has collapsed. If you spoke to her mother believed there is a heaven to go to. I'm saying the previous generation believed there is a heaven to go to. She is laughing at it because it's a joke. Me going to heaven, it's a joke. So now that heaven has collapsed, you want to do everything right here in a limited amount of time. This is why you see excess of everything. So at this point, if you do not offer something that human beings can make their life's experience phenomenally pleasant and fantastic within themselves, you will see in the next 50 years' time, 90% of humanity will be on drugs or alcohol. How much percentage of Hyderabad is already on alcohol? Huh? Hey, you should know. 30–40%. Only 30–40%? 80% she's saying. It depends in which social structure you live. I was in New York City, there's a large group of people. I asked them, how many people in New York City can sit in the evening peacefully without even a glass of wine? I'm using glass of wine as a basic dosage. After they said very confidently, well, it's less than 2%. I came to London immediately after that and I was among a prominent group of people. I asked them, how much percentage in London can sit in the evening without even a glass of wine peacefully? He said, less than 1%. So that's where the world has gone. Today still in this culture, the percentage is low because of the women. Still, women are not getting drunk too much. At a certain level of society it's happening, rest of the society still thinks it's wrong, okay? When we were growing up, in a small town, there would be just 2 dozen people who drink. One people would say, they're drunkards, we can't give our girls to their family. Now if you don't serve drink in the wedding, nobody will come, including the groom. So in a matter of 30–40 years, the alcohol consumption gone up by 1,000–2,000%. This is because heavens are collapsing. There is no idea that somewhere else all these pleasures can be had. So, it's very important, I'm very important in this whole struggle. Look at my eyes and see, I'm always drunk, or worse, I'm stoned. Never touched a substance. But this is how it is. If there is no intoxication in you, naturally, then you will take on very small portions of life. You will not take on huge amount of life and try to do it. Only if you're little drunk, you don't mind day or night you're working and doing whatever you have to do with all kinds of idiots on the planet. Yes all kinds of people because you're little… Always. We want to teach this to the youth. I can teach them how to simply sit here and get stoned without smoking, without drinking, without popping pills, because the greatest chemical factory is right here. This is the most sophisticated chemical factory on the planet. The question is only, are you a great manager or are you a lousy manager of this chemical factory? If you're a great manager, you would make sure you produce the most pleasant chemicals in the system. If you're a lousy manager, you're producing horrible chemicals in the system. Wherever you sit or stand, you're anxious and stressed and nonsense. I'm just blissed out. If you don't give an alternative, you can't wean them off it. Your morality is not going to work. Your heaven and hell is not working. You have to give them an alternative. You must teach them a way how there is a way to be in a better state than anything else the market is offering.
I hope the doctors hear this, Sadhguru, because doctors have been advocating that a glass of wine keeps your heart healthy.
Because they are also drinking.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru, and thank you very much.